Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 328 of the All Dolphins podcast. This episode powered by our good friends at betus.com. And for this episode, I am joined by my old, is there such a thing as an old boo or just a regular boo?
It's just boo, hey boo.
Okay. My former All Dolphins podcast co host, now with the Miami Herald, where he does have his own podcast. But on this Thursday, August 8th, 2024, he is taking a break and kind enough to join me again for a return appearance. Omar Kelly, how are you, my friend?
I am good, Alan Poupard. How are you doing today on this fine? How did you enjoy joint practices?
I did. The only problem with joint practices is it's, again, as I mentioned earlier on the podcast, it's impossible to see everything. It's one of those where can somebody provide me the all 22 so I can dissect it and watch everything from every angle? Because invariably you're going to miss it. And what I missed, because all the fights happened on the far side of the field, Dolphin defense versus Falcons offense, and I was watching the other side. I never saw anything that started. I was just seeing the aftermath.
I understand. I had my binoculars on all of the fights as they were beginning, but I couldn't be able to identify the numbers because the action was going so fast and then the pileups happened so fast. So, mind you, I saw them all, but I can't tell you the details of them all. I just tell you bits and pieces because once you get a scrum of 40 players,
Yeah.
it's impossible to see, exactly, because you're watching and there's no replay. What fans have to understand. Remember when we had that Adam Gase era where we had a replay on every play? Remember that?
Yes. Yes.
Where they had a, a,
Mm-hmm.
a, a camera. This is like 5, 6, 7 years ago, and I'm surprised that Mike McDaniel, Mr. Technologically Savvy, hasn't gone to that where after every play during the Adam Gase era, they gave us there was a replay there, and it was for the coaches and for the players and everybody to look at, But do we need replay? We probably don't.
It's fun to have it, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Speaking of
yeah.
Adam Gase, there was an Adam Gase sighting. It was at the Denver Broncos practice yesterday. I saw him on the sideline, and I, for one, enjoyed Adam Gase. He was a really good dude. Uh,
I think he
made,
gets a
made,
bad rap. We have, and I say this all the time, and it gets Dolphin fans their panties in a bunch. That's very easy to do. I'm very good at it. Um,
oh, yes,
I
you
have
are.
covered a lot of dysfunctional bad coaches in my era of the Miami Dolphins. You know them because you've covered them as well.
Mhm.
There's Joe Philbin, there's Cam Cameron. Um, I I do not put Adam Gase in a bad dysfunctional era. What happened to Adam Gase was he lost his quarterback for 2 seasons, and then basically his team quit on him. They didn't want to play for him anymore. And once that happens to you, you're toast. He got a job with the Jets, and it was dysfunctional there, and you know, and then he just got a bad rap.
Yeah, I think the, the one part that sticks out to me is how he got a job with the Jets, like immediately after the Dolphins fired him. Basically for performance issues. So that was very weird. So anyway, I guess Adam Gase will take care of our history lesson. Uh, we touched. Please tell me that wasn't your biggest takeaway from the joint practices, those skirmishes that we saw.
Um, I liked some of the intensity that I'm seeing from the defense. I like the tone that Jalen Ramsey is trying to set, and
Yeah.
Jalen was a main agitator. I saw him after plays pushing players and slapping at balls and doing things that you kind of the bully would do. And every time I listen to a player, I listen to Calais Campbell do his interview with Dan Lebertard show. You should check that out because it's some meaty stuff that you definitely find useful. Um,
Well, oh, what I will.
and
Thank you. That.
and there was so much talk about the Jalen speech about being bullies and changing the identity, and they were intentionally trying to ensure that, hey, we're not going to get pushed around. We are changing the identity of this team. And between Jordan Poyer, Jalen Ramsey, Calais Campbell, maybe even Jordan Brooks, Anthony Walker, I'm confident that we'll see a different identity from a defensive standpoint.
That's fair. And this is where your best players can set the tone. And Jalen Ramsey clearly is the most talented player on this Dolphin defense. I don't think anybody would even question that. And if he's the one leading the charge and playing with an edge, that's going to permeate over the whole defense.
Explain this to me, because this is important.
Okay.
Jalen Ramsey, who you lost the very first week of training camp last week.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he working every day and virtually every snap? Other than the fact that he's trying to set the tone.
Correct. And this is where I'd be curious in terms of the guys who are on a load maintenance program. How much is the team? How much is the players? How much is it? Are they allowing the players? Because there are a lot of those. And again, I'm all for, erring on the side of caution with the Jalen Waddle, with the Teron Armstead and all those guys. Kendall Fuller is basically day on, day off, which would indicate to me he's not dealing with an injury. Otherwise, he wouldn't go on and off.
I think he is dealing with an injury.
Then why did he practice yesterday if he was dealing with an injury?
Because he needs to get geared up for the regular season. We got what is there left? 3 weeks before we're kicking off the regular season. These guys got to get. I wonder about Isaiah Wynn. If Isaiah Wynn doesn't show up for practice next week, season opener, nope, not happening. And Teron, I don't want Teron doing 11 on 11s maybe until the final week of the exhibition season, maybe Tampa week. But Teron has to get it going at some point, doesn't he?
Yeah, but you just said you don't want to see him until the last week.
No, I don't want to see him in 11 on 11s, but I do want to see him. Like, why isn't Teron doing individuals right now?
That's a good point. And this is where I want to point out he was wearing a compression sleeve on his right leg. A couple of those practices where he was out there, again, not doing team periods. So, but no, yeah, and I like this new approach. So if I may, if you're willing to indulge me in this, how about we go position by position very quickly with where things stand? Okay. And you know what? Because you were kind enough to join me, I'm going to start with your baby, the offensive line. I know you're feeling queasy about this.
I have to daily remind myself in Butch Barry I trust. I have to daily remind myself this. Now, yesterday we switched up and so I was watching the defense instead of what you assigned me, and I you signed me the offense the first day of.
Hold on, that was Miami Dolphins on SI doing a little partnership with the Miami Heralds to watch one field each. I didn't assign you.
I didn't get a choice. It wasn't a request. And I thought I was supposed to watch the defense. Then you're like, oh, you're not doing your job. And then I was like, okay, let me focus in on the offense. So bad Omar. Yes, I watch the trenches. I got to watch the trenches. That's just where my obsession is. The first day, it wasn't good enough. And then the next day, they threw in little wrinkles that would obviously make it impossible for me to evaluate it and see if it's not good enough. Like Keon Smith is your starting left tackle. Come on, bro. You're just asking for problems. Then
the Dolphins are supposed to be very high on him. Okay. Boy, talk about saying a lot without saying anything.
Let's address this. Does he have the athleticism to play guard? Possibly. Mm. Does he have the edge discipline and strength to anchor as a tackle, as a left tackle? Not really. How about we try Keon Smith at right guard then? But it's very weird how they utilize him, what they do with him, the role, the vision, and I'm sorry, and I said this to you yesterday. Why wasn't okay? You want to give Kendall Lamb a right tackle day, which is important because Kendall Lamb will probably have to play right tackle at some point in the season. But there's one guy who exclusively plays left tackle. He only plays left tackle. He's a young rookie. He's handling himself well in Patrick Paul. Why wouldn't you give him a day to elevate himself against the Falcons?
Beats me.
You know, and then but instead you throw Keon Smith into the deep end of the pool, and then he drowns, and then you wonder, oh, why you got to go save him? Like it, I don't know, but as I constantly have to remind myself, in Butch Barry I trust. This is what I have to remind myself. If this is what he wants to do, okay, and we'll see, because obviously Keon Smith is probably going to be offensive lineman 9 or 10. And you're making a decision and a determination. Is he sponge worthy or is he not sponge worthy? This was, you know,
That's awesome.
it was a little rough. But then you lose Aaron Brewer, and to a hand issue, which we don't know exactly the extent of and how serious it is. But
nor will we speculate.
No, yeah, but a center with a hand issue that's already having bad snaps, yeah, that's a great recipe for disaster.
And we don't know if, and I don't want to go there. I don't want to get pow. We should not be speculating on the severity of the injury. Can we agree that in terms of personnel, and also because of the guys, I mean, they've been practicing without their projected starting left tackle and starting left guard, and then on top of that, they're doing a lot of cross training when they're all about, you know, wanting position versatility and flexibility up front. That's all great and dandy. I have also heard coaches in the past talk about the importance of establishing your starting five and building cohesiveness and chemistry and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
no, I mean, but we played this game. We've done this over and over and over again for over a decade. And my only criticism about what's going on now with the offensive line is we knew there wasn't a backup center. We knew Liam is the backup center, okay? But Liam wants a legit chance to settle in at right guard. Going into that practice, Mike McDaniel talked about giving Liam a legit chance to settle into right guard and seeing what he can become.
Yep.
Then something happens to Brewer, and then Liam, let's go right back in there at center. And I you know,
that says it all. No,
yes, you don't have. Yes, Liam is your backup center, but if you legitimately want to give him a shot at your right guard, and I think he's a good center. I think he's a. Let me take that back. Bad. Yeah, I think he's an adequate center. You don't have to worry about snapping issues with Liam. Is what I'm saying. So there's an ease there with Liam at center. But why do you not have a backup center on your roster? Why do you not have a legit backup center on your roster when you've known all of the entire offseason that you didn't have one?
That is an excellent question. And there's a question that actually we were talking about in the media room, and it's tough to defend. And right now, the Dolphins, like, all of a sudden find themselves with a whole lot of cap space for 2024. The credit card bill, for those who are saying cap hill, what cap hill, it's coming at some point. They just pushed it down the road.
It's here now. When your roster's full of 30-year-olds and injured players, and then you're in training camp, injuries at wide receiver, injuries at cornerback, injuries at safety, injuries at linebacker, injuries at defensive tackle. Come on, man.
But they have $35 million in cap space. So again, but what I'm saying is they've kicked them down the road. The problem is right now, there are not a ton of like high level centers on the market. Those guys are usually have been snatched up by now. And it's the same. And it's the same if we're going to look at the wide receiver position. Dolphins have injuries up the wazoo at wide receiver. And the two guys they signed are Willie Snead, a guy who's got like 4 catches in his past 2 seasons, who, by the way, had 2 drops, was it Monday or Tuesday? And then Mike Harley Jr., who first entered the NFL in 2022 and just been on a practice squad, hasn't played in an NFL game. So, and this is where I don't know if you saw your good friend Robbie Chosen worked out for the 49ers last year. At this stage, I don't know why the Dolphins wouldn't just go out and sign him instead of Mike Harley.
That's a good question. I never even thought about it, but I mean, they're just adding bodies right now at wide receiver, which is understandable. I mean, your top 4 is down. Tyreek is not down, but let's be real about it. Tyreek is pacing himself in practice. Tyreek shows up, takes 10 snaps, and then kind of disappears. Then might take another.
Wide open on practically every route he runs. So
hey, life ain't fair, man.
No, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it as a bad thing. It's a good thing. And then I kind of like, I don't know if I want to say I took Tyreek to task, but he talks about after the Atlanta first joint practice where they went over the top. He goes, I've been trying to do that against our defense. We haven't been able to. And I'm like, hell, have you been watching? You're open deep at least once a practice every day. So
yes, because he shows up 50 minutes in the practice, and then he's like running full speed while Ethan Bonner's been out there hustling for like 50 minutes. But again, as I say, life is not fair.
Okay. I'm glad you mentioned Ethan Bonner. Let's move to the DBs. I'm going to jump all over the place. Let's move to the DBs. I'm of the opinion that I think Ethan Bonner is a very intriguing player, but I also think he's being portrayed as being a lot more advanced as a cornerback than he actually is.
Yes.
True or false?
True. Absolutely true.
Okay.
I think Ethan Bonner's sponge worthy. He's on your 53. He's probably cornerback number 4. If something happens to one of your starters on the boundary, he's in the game. He's probably a core special teams player. It doesn't look too big for him. I watched him against Drake London all practice yesterday. Drake London has tremendous size, completely different player than what he faces on a regular basis, and it was not too big for him. It absolutely wasn't too big for him. But I got to say this to you, Poop, and I know people say I know people say I put on a cape for Xavier Howard too much, and hey, I've watched Xavier Howard throughout his entire career. I know what kind of player he is. Does Kendall Fuller impress you? Your choices are Kendall Fuller, Ethan Bonner playing opposite Jalen Ramsey, and Cater in cornerback. Is that good enough?
I don't have enough data to make that determination. I'm going to be very honest with you. So to me, it's incomplete. And I think you know very well that while I'm not quite in X's corner as much as you are, I also happen to think when healthy, he's a hell of a cornerback. It just has been an issue the past couple of years. But with Kendall Fuller, again, he's basically went practice on, practice off, practice on, practice off. And then sadly, I was focusing on the Dolphin offense. Sadly, in terms of being able to see what he did. And by all accounts, I didn't hear his name mentioned either way, either really good or really bad. So, and damn well he's not playing tomorrow night. So we'll have to wait next week. So with that, let's take a quick pause for a quick word from our sponsor again, betus.com. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. And here.
Michael Vick at betus.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino. Michael Vick at betus.com.
Don't need to do it twice in a row. Okay. I could, but I'm not going to. Quick note, BetUS is offering a 125% deposit match on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Remember, please gamble responsibly. I will put my BetUS link here in the bar at the bottom and also have it in the comment. Of course, if I can find it, because this is how it is. Anyway, as I look for it here, it'll be in the comments because right now, for some reason, I can't find it. No, here it is. Okay. Apologies for those technical issues. Okay, we were talking about the DBs. We got word yesterday via his wife that Jordan Poor's injury is a thumb injury. He has missed 6 straight practices. Not a major issue. Again, dealing with a thumb for a safety, no concern there. I think the Dolphins are in very good shape at safety. Javon Holland's dealing with something I don't expect it to be major. He talked to us after practice Tuesday, which is when he got dinged. He broke up a play in the end zone and came up kind of a little bit slowly. Again, he's not going to play tomorrow night. And just as an expectation, if you
nobody important is playing tomorrow night.
Sorry? Nobody put exactly. Here's a good question. Who is the most prominent player you expect to be in uniform tomorrow night? How's that for?
This is going to surprise you.
Go ahead.
Tier Tart.
Not surprised. Not surprised at all.
You know what? I have become intrigued by Tier Tart by the day. And I'm watching and I'm watching and I'm watching. And after his position coach basically said, hey, we need some consistency from him. There are too many flash plays. We need him to show up every day. Basically give him the Jordan Phillips treatment.
Yeah, that's a blast from the past. That's a good one, actually.
And from that day, I watched him like closely, and boy, can he whoop some tail. He can own the line of scrimmage. Now, maybe that's because he's facing second team centers or second team guards, but he's got a club move that, I mean, he's in the backfield. It's a boom, and he's in backfield. He's more talented than Benito Jones. They trust Benito Jones more. If we can figure out what it takes to unlock Tier Tart and get him to play, and I used to say the same thing about Jordan Phillips, and you get mad about it, and it is what it is.
You know damn well what it's gonna take. You write a column and you bash his work ethic. There you go.
No. Listen, I am so terrified. Like, I don't even ask for Tier Tart in our media availability. Even though I want him, I don't want to ask for him, because when you're 300 and something pounds and people call you lazy, it always never sits well with you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's so much talent there, but now you're starting to connect the dots about what happened in Tennessee and, why teams stayed away from him. And then the Dolphins give him a chance and an opportunity. And then he's 20 yards behind his teammates in conditioning drills. And then you start training camp, and coaches are like, yeah, Benito gives us more consistency, which is why Benito's playing ahead of him. We want him more consistent. And then, okay, they put that publicly, and then you start to see more consistency. You'd be like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now, I also think that this is part of an issue. Him and Aaron Brewer, they're buddies. They go back to Tennessee. Buddy play in practice. You've been around long enough to see Buddy play in practice. So does Tier Tart say to himself, like, I can't be beast mode against my buddy, so I'm not gonna do that? But so does he unleash it in the game? That's what I want to see.
Yeah, and this is a guy, again, I know he poo-pooed it when he had his Zoom media session after he signed with the Dolphins, the narrative that came out of Tennessee that he's a good player but doesn't always put out. And if you look at his stats, the TFLs and the disruptive plays per snap last year were really, really good. But it wasn't all lies. It may have been.
No. We realize it. Oh, no. There's some he doesn't put out. He doesn't put out.
No, correct. And as I wrote for Miami Dolphins on si.com/NFL/Dolphins. Yes, the URL could be a little less clunky, but such is life in the big city. Of all the defensive tackles the Dolphins signed in the offseason, this was before Calais Campbell was added. To me, he was the one who clearly had the chance to make the biggest impact among the Benito Jones, Jonathan Harris, who actually I've noticed he's kind of flashed to me a little bit. Neville Gallimore, fellow Canadian, who unfortunately I haven't seen necessarily much from. Who else? Isaiah Mack, Davion Nixon, who's already gone.
I think Hand. Well,
that's a re-signing.
I know, but Hand is my oh, okay, there's more there. There's more there. Gallimore, Harris, I'm like, Hand, even Jones, I'm like, Hand, there's more there. I'm very curious to see if there's a starter there. Maybe. Like, I can't say that to any of the other guys. I can't say, could there be a starter there? Like, no, I can't say that. Hand is the one that I could say, there's something there I'm intrigued with, and I want to know more about.
Okay. Since I asked you the question and you gave me your answer of Terrier Tart, I have to come up with my most notable player who I expect to be in the lineup Friday night. Would Liam Eichenberg count? I actually think he's going to play.
Oh, he's got to play. Who else is going to handle snaps?
Andrew Meyer.
Ooh, this is going to be bad, Dan.
It's the preseason opener. I mean,
Andrew Meyer cannot play the whole game.
No, but Jack Driscoll also.
So you want to go that route? You really want to see that, huh?
Do I want to see it? No, I asked a question, so I have to come up with an answer. And Terrier Tart was a good one from your end. I got to come up with somebody else.
Liam has, and that's part of the problem now. Like, that's part of the problem. Liam has to play center now. Like, it would be great if we could see him play right guard, but now he has to play center. And it's going to help him long term in his career, but at what point will we know if Liam is a starting offensive guard in the NFL?
And here's the other factor. This is his contract year. So the Dolphins, after this season, have to make a decision whether they want to move on with Liam Eichenberg or let him go. Well, I know you're going. I know you wouldn't be crushed if you wound up leaving, but if there's something there and he's going to develop into a dependable starting NFL offensive lineman, it would be preferable if it were for the Dolphins.
I get a bad rap with Liam because I'm critical of him because I obsess about the offensive line, and I know he is the weak link in the weak area. But I like Liam. I believe in Liam. I just haven't seen it. And I think that there's talent there that I think his confidence kind of caps that talent. And like, I watched him in the Falcons joint practice and day one, and there was a period where I could just see the confidence just evaporating. And I have seen that so much with Liam over the years that I just know when it's coming. And you have to get him to the point where he's working with sports psychologists to get that out. And I remember when Jalen Phillips talked about that and talked about how that was a big part of his growth and elevation. He needed to work with a sports psychologist. There's just something there with Liam where there's like a mental block where, okay, he has to spend a lot of time with Jalen Ramsey and learn how to be a bully instead of the guy that gets bullied.
Or be more alpha also, I think would be another way to describe it. Well, maybe you didn't help when you started talking about the Liam Express or the Eichenberg Express. I don't remember what you said. That didn't help, Omar.
If we weren't riding the Eichenberg Express, this whole season we're going to be riding the Eichenberg Express. So
maybe.
And we don't know where it's going to end up. And that's the thing. I like Liam. I want to see him succeed. I want to see him be put in position to succeed. I just don't want those moments where I'm watching practice and it looks like he's quit on himself or he doesn't believe. And you see that so often. And I'm like, how do you get past that mental hurdle?
Okay.
Other than, I don't know. And I don't have an answer for that.
Okay. Let's move to quarterback. And the question here is, do you believe, based on Mike McDaniel, excuse me, getting all choked up here. Do you believe, based on Mike McDaniel's comments from Wednesday morning, that there is actually a competition for the number 2 quarterback job between Mike White or Skylar Thompson? Or do you believe this is a coach motivating his players to continue doing their best in practice, and a coach who's basically his MO is to be positive about everything and everybody?
Should there be a competition? Yes.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is there a competition? No. There should be a competition, but there isn't a competition. And I don't think that's fair. But and we're gonna put Skylar in a situation where he's probably gonna start the game. And I don't know what kind of situation they're gonna put these guys into. It should be a wide open competition. And I don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
Okay. And here's the thing. Neither of them have been particularly overwhelming in practice.
No.
And in fact, you might even say Skylar has been a tad better, but in terms of experience and having done it in an NFL regular season game, Skylar played 2 games as a rookie, and he wasn't particularly impressive against Minnesota that first game. Although the pass protection was complete booty cheeks, as somebody I know would say. And then the regular season finale against the Jets when they won 11-6. And in the playoff game, even though the Dolphins scored 31 points, they scored 31 points because they had like 3 takeaways and a 50-yard punt return, not because the offense was good. Skylar looked like he was over his skis at that point, which was not abnormal for a rookie 7th round pick. And please don't tell me about Brock Purdue. Brock Purdue is an anomaly again
Brock Purdy. Yes.
Oh, I said Purdue?
Yes.
What am I thinking about chicken? I have a hankering for chicken all of a sudden. Brock Purdy. And then Mike White, again, I'm going to point this out. He played in 6 mop-up games last year. So if we want to throw that out, that's fine. Throw that out. If you don't want to throw it out, well, his passer rating was 118.1. So I know we're going to throw that out. But with the Jets, he started 7 games on a team that had nowhere near the talent the Dolphin offense has. And in 3 of those 7 starts, his passer rating was over 100. So it's not like he hasn't done it in a regular season game. And Omar's giving me the look like, what you talking about, Willis?
Has Mike White at any point looked to you like a quarterback? And I'm talking any point last 2 years, looked to you like a quarterback who could lead this Dolphins team to victories?
He doesn't look impressive physically, no.
Okay. I'm not saying that Skylar has either.
Or even totally in command of the offense. No. But again, I saw him play against the Jets, and he had those really good games, and he also showed a ton of moxie when he just got drilled. I think it was against the Bills, and stayed in the game and finished the game and may have had cracked ribs or something. But no, he does not look particularly impressive when you see him out there.
Now, in fairness to both of these backup quarterbacks, they're not always working with the best offensive lines. Right now, it's not even like they're on the second tier talent level in terms of wide receivers. Like some of these guys who are going to be on the field on Friday night just got there like 2 days ago, and they don't even know where to line up. Route depths, hot routes, all those things are off, and Mike McDaniel acknowledged that and admitted it. Which is why you're probably right. Why haven't they considered signing Chosen and bringing him to camp? Like, other than the fact that you don't want to put him in a situation where he's not going to have a legit chance. But
right.
I don't want to speak for Chosen. Chosen is going to have to make a name for himself on his own merits now in this day and age of where he is as an NFL player. But yeah, the receiver, let's be real about it. The receiver play has been, outside of Tariq and Waddle, and I will include Berrios and River Craycraft, who have been adequate.
Craycraft, dude, harsh. Craycraft's been really good.
Yeah.
Berrios has barely been out there, but Craycraft's been really good.
Yes.
And Malik had a good practice yesterday.
It's been mediocre. And I get it. We're talking about 5th and 6th receivers, but like, I don't see anything I want to keep on that back end of the roster. 5th and 6th receivers.
You know, Malik's making the roster.
I know he is, but that's draft status.
Oh, sure.
Is that performance?
Yeah, but Omar, I think we pretty much know Tyreek Waddle, Berrios, Craycraft, Malik Washington, and OBJ.
Yes.
And this is where the guys that they're signing now, Willie Snead, the 4th, and Mike Harley Jr., they're camp rep guys.
Mm-hmm. But Braylon Sanders, we should be looking at a different level player right now. He has no excuse about not knowing the offense, and he's been here. This is his 3rd year. What else is there? Anthony Schwartz, and I know he's hurt right now, but those are 2 guys that you should be getting way more from that you're just not getting enough. And should you though? They've been here. They know the offense.
A lot, but again, and not to take a shot at rookie free agents, who generally speaking, again, are rookie free agents for a reason. Braylon Sanders was a rookie free agent. Anthony Schwartz, who's got speed to spare.
Mm-hmm.
The Browns let him go because basically the route running is not good enough and the hands aren't good enough. Well, why would they all of a sudden, boom, like that, magically that appears with the Dolphins?
I mean, it happens. Guys pan out 3-4 years into their career. Look at Quentin Bell. I mean, it happens.
No, it does happen, but to count on it is, to me, and I want to make another point too, because you mentioned, and it was a good point on your part, the fairness of that Mike White and Skylar Thompson are not operating with the first team offense a lot. Sometimes they'll have Tyreek's going to be on the field with them. And then we saw yesterday, and I'm going to preface this because I feel I have to. No, I'm not taking a shot at Tua, but the first team offense, Jalen Waddle wasn't out there, and Tyreek basically had 5 reps maybe. Guys weren't getting open. And then Tua didn't look like Tua because he's got nobody to throw to. So, yeah, that makes a difference. But going back to the thing, I think the level of trust, and talk about a circuitous route to get back to the original point, I think there's going to be a lot higher level of trust in Mike White than there would be in Skylar Thompson. Although it's possible they wind up keeping 3 anyway, even though they don't have to anymore, to be able to use Skylar as the emergency third on game day.
I think you keep him early, and then if you need the roster spot, you gotta pull the plug and put him on a practice squad. But I would like to see Skylar get the opportunity to close out. Like, we got to figure out what the plan is in these preseason games. Like, one guy starts, one guy closes out. Okay. And do they get an equal talent level of a team? I want to see Skylar have the closeout opportunities because we've watched him in those situations, and Skylar has a gunslinger mentality. You know what? I actually changed that. I want to see them in reverse order. Okay. I want to see Skylar start and Mike White have to play the gunslinger role.
Okay.
I'm changing my tune here.
You're allowed. You're allowed. On the All Dolphins podcast, you can do whatever. Here's the thing, though.
I don't think Mike can play like Skylar can. And I don't think Skylar can play like Mike can. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I think Mike White's going to play a more mistake-free game. I think Skylar, and yes, Arm Queen coming up, has the ability to make certain throws because he's got a much stronger arm that maybe Mike White can't. Although I will say Mike White had a beautiful pass. I passed with Lake Washington yesterday. It was good. But here's the thing we need to point out. Tyreek's not playing Friday night. Jalen Waddle's not playing Friday night. OBJ obviously not playing Friday night. Berrios is not playing Friday night. And who's 5th? Craycraft, maybe.
That compression sleeve on Craycraft bothers me, just so you know.
Yeah, no, it's a little worrisome. What position have we not addressed? Chop Robinson, have you come around on him? Is he getting more sponge-worthy for you?
Why? He was never not sponge-worthy. Don't do that. Don't do that. I think he's doing better as an edge setter. Is it past the sniff test? Probably not. But he's a situational pass rusher, and there's no shame in that, being a situational pass rusher early in your rookie season. I like the talent. I think I want to see him go against. I want to see him go against starting offensive linemen, and that's what he needs. He needs some film against starting offensive linemen so he can see what they do and the counters. And I said something on Twitter yesterday that I would love to see. He needs like 2 weeks with Teron Armstead. He needs 2 weeks where Teron is going up against him and Teron puts all the little foolishness to rest. But then a fan was like, yeah, whenever is Teron practicing? And I was like, oh, damn. Yeah. But that's what he needs. That's what, if Chop Robinson got like 2 weeks with Teron Armstead, he would get so much education, it would drastically benefit him. But we know that's not going to happen just because of bubble boys and not getting coming out of the wrapping.
No, yeah, and unfortunately that's kind of the deal there. No, and for me, I think Chop Robinson's got a very nice future. I certainly wouldn't put him in the Pro Bowl immediately as a rookie. No. And when I think you mentioned that point, when an offensive lineman gets his hands on him,
it's over.
It's over, yeah, pretty much. But there's something there.
It's like ragdoll-ish. And I don't know how you fix that. To outside of don't put him in those situations where I look at him as more of an A and B gap blitzer than I do an outside edge guy who's turning the corner trying to get after the quarterback. And I think he can do that.
I think he can do that.
Yeah. He can create some pressure. Yes. But does he have the bend that Wake has? Is he finishing plays? We won't know that until we get into real game situations.
Correct. And I don't like the Wake comparison. I mean,
I hate it too.
Yeah.
Absolutely hate it.
Yeah. Wake's a different animal. I will tell you one guy I'm actually not, and I didn't mention as a most notable player who's going to play, because I think it's a no dud that he's going to play, but I want to see something, because from all reports, and again, I wasn't zoning in on the Dolphin defense that much, but I didn't hear peep in terms of Quentin Bell doing a whole lot against the Falcons after he'd been tearing it up in practice. So it would be nice to see something in the game.
The Falcons were doing a lot of running, and Quentin Bell was anchoring down. I thought the defense won both days because the Falcons really couldn't do much offensively. I didn't watch closely the first day, but I watched the second day, and they didn't do nothing. Quentin Bell's he's gonna get heavy action, and I'm very curious. He's probably the number one player I'll be watching in this exhibition game against the Falcons.
Whoa, wait, not an offensive lineman? You okay, Omar? Everything all right?
It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Like, and Patrick Paul is going to be going against second teamers, which fine. It is what it is. Unless they decide that Kendall Lamb's not going to be playing in the exhibition season, which they very well could. He is a 10-year veteran. Quentin Bell, because he has to prove he's starter worthy. Emmanuel August going to be out there. He's got to prove he's starter worthy. You don't think Emmanuel's going to play?
That's a great question. He played last year, but last year the Dolphins knew Vic Fangio knew his role was going to be very limited. So
yeah, last year Vic Fangio was like, "Yeah, I don't like you."
By the way, did you see that story I wrote on Miami Dolphins on SI that Fangio urged the Dolphins to make a phone call to the Eagles for Milton Williams, a defensive tackle, who's a very solid player, and the Eagles' defensive tackle depth is completely ridiculous. Just to give you an idea, Milton Williams, I think, was ranked number 32 among 130 defensive tackles, which is pretty good. Had the fourth highest grade among Eagles defensive tackles. That's how stupid their depth is. So I guess Dolphins wanted to see if they could get Williams at a decent price, who not only would have maybe limited the workload for Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer last year, but also could have served as in a succession plan with the impending departure of Christian Wilkins. So, and Howie Roseman with the Eagles, like, no, we're good. And then they lost Fletcher Cox, retired in the offseason, but they still have its first round pick after first round pick, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. So, but that'd have been a good one. Before we wrap it up, Omar, any final thoughts? You mentioned Quentin Bell as the one guy you want to be looking for. Anybody on offense? Give me one guy on offense. You're going to be
Jalen Wright.
Okay. Has he done anything for you yet?
No, but I'm Devon Achane hadn't done anything for me at this point either. So I'm patient.
That's true.
I'm absolutely patient.
By the way, I would massively caution against expecting Devon Achane to become Alvin Kamara or Christian McCaffrey. I'm trying to think of the great receiving running backs. I know it's out there. Yeah. I'm not. I don't see it. Sorry.
Got to work on the hands.
Got to work on the hands. I just don't know. Also, if he has necessarily the feel for catching, much other than screen passes, but it's a work. Again, that can change. It's not because I'm saying this now that it's going to be the same 3 months from now. But from what we've seen so far, I would certainly temper expectations as far as that's concerned.
That's what I love about you, Copard. You're a realist like me. You see it, and you don't shy away from reporting it. And like I love. Remember when they began OTAs and Devon Achane, they were shooting him from a a downward angle, and he looked all buff and muscular, and Dolphin fans were like, "Yeah, we got a Hulk." And I'm like, people, seriously?
Yeah. He's like slightly bigger. The two guys whose body to me have changed the most since the end of last season, Tua obviously, and Jeff Wilson Jr. to me look much leaner to me.
Yeah, I haven't checked out Jeff Wilson. But yeah, Jeff Wilson is a running hard, man. And I love guys when they basically know you trying to take my bone away from me. No. I love when guys have that energy to them, and that's Jeff right now.
No, and he's going to be a tough guy to make a decision on, because again, Raheem's making the team, Achane's making the team, Jalen Wright's making the team. So do they keep 4 halfbacks? And if they keep
who's better than Jeff?
Chris Brooks. No, he's not better than. I don't think he's better than Jeff Wilson. I think he still has the intriguing upside. I still see some runs where it's like,
yeah. I see your intrigue, but he ain't running as hard as Jeff right now.
Is there really a point in keeping Jeff Wilson as a 4? Can you get a late round pick for Jeff Wilson Jr. in the trade? There's some teams that need running backs. Is that a route that you can take?
I want Jeff Wilson on my team.
Okay, no problem there.
I like Chris Brooks, but if I put him on the practice squad, is somebody going to really come get him?
50-50.
50-50 shot. I'll have another shot at him. I'm not like I remember. I forget what point it was. The guy I'm not taking a chance with practice squadding him.
Who's that?
Tanner Connor. Nope. Seen too much.
Interesting. Okay.
Seen too much. I'm like, seen too much. I'm not chancing that, because I can look 3 years down the line from now. You could be like, yeah, that guy was on the Dolphins practice squad, and you'd be like, you're real proud of that. That's probably about it.
No, there's a reason he made the team as a rookie free agent in 2022, and then last year went into training camp dealing with an injury and didn't make the 53, but he was on the practice squad the whole year. I think we both agree that he's massively outplayed Jody Fortson Jr. so far.
Yeah.
So, on that note, I'm going to give you another very big thank you, Omar Kelly from the Miami Herald. That's where you can find his work, miamiherald.com. Also, check out his podcast over there with our mutual good friend Barry Jackson, Dolphins in Depth. And then another shout out. Thank you to the good folks at BetUS. This episode was powered by betus.com. Again, I will have my link in the comments. We thank you for watching. There will be programming note, live show right after the game Friday night, the preseason opener against the Atlanta Falcons at Hard Rock Stadium. For now, thanks everyone.